The following video is not made for kids. Viewer discretion is advised. Hello to my subscribers, this is the TFangy coming to you with what will hopefully be a quick and successful video review. And I realized, even though I've been collecting a lot of the Transformers action figures in the Age of the Primes line, I haven't reviewed any of them yet, so today we're going to be taking a look at my first Transformers Age of the Primes review, and it is none other than Voyager class Rescuebot Heatwave. So yeah, here is Heatwave. He is the third character from the Rescuebots series to be given a modern Chug-style figure by Hasbro in the overall Generations line. The first two were Chase and Medix, who were given deluxe figures in the Legacy line. Chase was a brand new mold, and then Medix was mold mates with the Legacy Skids figure. Heatwave, just like Medix, is a repaint retool of a previously released figure. Heatwave is a retool of Legacy Bulkhead, and you wouldn't know it at first glance considering all the retool parts Heatwave has been given, but yeah, he's a pretty impressive looking Transformers action figure. You got, here for the box art, you got his robot mode and his alt mode of a fire truck. He says he's from the Rescuebot series. You got the same artwork of his robot mode here on the side, Age of the Primes line. Go around here to the back, you've got your product photos, robot mode, and alternate mode, and Heatwave transforms back and forth in 29 steps. And yeah, that's all there is to say. That's pretty much it for Heatwave. I've never watched the Rescuebots cartoon shows. As I said that in my reviews of Chase and Medix, so I don't know too much information on the Rescuebots, but I am thrilled that we got modern action figures of them that are aimed at older adult-oriented Transformers fans and collectors, and I think it's been 1.5 decades since the Rescuebots TV show first started to air on television, so a lot of the kids who watched Rescuebots are now starting to grow up, so seeing more modern articulated action figures of the Rescuebots characters is a sight to behold. So without further delay, let's get Heatwave out of his box and take a close look at him in his robot mode. Alright, and so here is Heatwave out of his box, and for being a retool of Legacy Bulkhead, he is pretty impressive looking. The retool parts for Heatwave include his head, his chest sculpt. I think he might have new arms, but I believe everything below his waist, the legs are entirely the same as Bulkhead. He even has the same tires. So decent, and there's enough retooled parts for Heatwave to be a fire truck instead of a troop carrier truck, which is what Bulkhead had for his alt mode. I believe Heatwave is either the I believe he's the fourth use of this mold. The first three were Legacy Bulkhead, and then Legacy Wreckers Bulkhead, and also Prime Breakdown were the first 3 uses of the mold. Oh, let's see. He's the one that's had the most retooled parts, since he doesn't have the canvas backpack, which is doubles as the riot shield. Instead, he has a ladder for his fire truck alt mode, and for accessory pieces, in addition to the ladder, which is an accessory piece, he's got a double barrel water gun and a fireman's axe. So yeah, Heatwave is one of his arms is mistransformed. There we go. So yeah, he's a pretty impressive looking action figure of being a retool of Bulkhead. For articulation, his head is on a ball joint, so he can spin left and right 360 degrees. Arms can rotate 60 degrees forwards and backwards at the shoulder. Waist joint, which is a little more loose than the swivel joint and the bicep. Ratchet jointed elbows, wrist swivels, universal jointed hips. The legs can go forward this far, they can go back this far, even with the ladder attached, which is really nice. Swivel joints in the thighs, hinge knees, and ankle pivots, and the toes can even go up and down due to how the feet transform. So yeah, pretty impressive amount of articulation can be found here on Heatwave. His head is wanting to droop off to the side, but thankfully it's not much effort to get it straightened out. And I apologize for not having Bulkhead to do a size comparison with Heatwave, but for a size comparison with some other Transformers action figures, here he is next to his fellow Rescuebots, Chase and Medix. So yes, these are the first 3 characters from the Rescuebots series who've been given modern Generations action figures targeted at older adult age Transformers collectors. vectors, and I'm really glad that after we got Chase and Medix, that Heatwave is the third Rescuebot that's been released in the Generation/Age of the Primes line, and that's because Chase transforms into a police car and Medix an ambulance, and with Heatwave transforming into a fire truck, the three most common the Rescuebots characters who have the three most common emergency responder vehicles that people see driving in the streets, fire trucks, ambulances, and police cars, have now been given modern action figures. So yeah, a nice trio of Rescuebots. I am aware enough to know that Medix was introduced in Transformers Rescuebots Academy, so he's a junior Rescuebot, not a fully fledged one yet, unlike Chase and Heatwave. But hopefully more Rescuebots characters will follow these guys in the future. But yeah, pretty impressive looking trio of Transformers Rescuebots. And like I said, since I didn't watch Rescuebots, I don't know too much about Heatwave. I will say that because the original Rescuebots Transformers action figures were targeted at younger Transformers fans, this is the first ever action figure of Heatwave that I have in my Transformers collection. That's true for Chase and Medix as well. And so without further delay, let's get these guys transformed into their alt modes, see what Heatwave's fire truck looks like, and we will wrap up the review. Alright, and so here is Heatwave transformed into his alt mode of a fire truck, and when I roll him around on my fingers, he does roll fairly well. Unfortunately, Heatwave suffers the exact same problem as Bulkhead, where he has only a hairline of clearance underneath him, and so if you don't get all his ports and pegs and panel sections all lined up properly, not all the wheels sit evenly on the ground. Some of them are slightly elevated more than the others, so if you don't get him to line up properly, he does like to, as you can see right there, me tapping on it, he does wobble. So unfortunately, that's the same problem that was found with Bulkhead. But overall, I'm really impressed with how Heatwave turned out. Like I said, as far as I can remember, he is the fourth use of the Legacy Bulkhead mold, and he has gotten the most retooled parts where the entire front truck cab has been brand new sculpting for him to turn into a fire truck, and then he does have the ladder. For weapon storage, there are rectangular pegs, so the axe and water cannon do plug up here on the top of the ladder. As that is how they're supposed to store. Overall, for what the designers at Hasbro and Takara did when designing Heatwave from the Legacy Bulkhead mold, I think he did turn out somewhat decent. This is just a very, very minor nitpick for me, but I kind of wish they would have painted the hubcaps on Heatwave's wheels, so he would have had hubcaps and tires. I think it just would have made him pop out a lot more than the previous versions of the mold. Well, but again, that's just a minor nitpick for me personally. One last thing I do want to say is I was surprised when it was announced that Heatwave was going to be a repaint and a retool of Legacy Bulkhead. I was kind of wondering if maybe Heatwave might be mold mates with the Legacy Voyager class Junkion Trashmaster, since when Trashmaster was first announced, I thought he looked a lot like Heatwave, even that it would be a simple matter of retooling him from a garbage truck to a fire truck. But still, even though Hasbro and Takara surprised me personally by going with Legacy Bulkhead, I do enjoy how Heatwave turned out. And again, for some size comparisons, here he is next to fellow Rescuebot odds of Chase and Medix, and as you can see, yeah, they are a pretty fantastic trio. Like I said, a fire truck, police car, and an ambulance are the three most common emergency responder vehicles driving around the streets. At least they are here in the United States. And so to have the first three Generation-style Rescuebots be the three most common emergency responder vehicles that people will see driving around on the streets, I'm really glad that Hasbro and Takara decided to do that. But yeah, really impressive how Heatwave looks standing next to fellow Rescuebots Chase and Medix. So for the final proverbial question, do I recommend getting the Transformers Age of the Primes Voyager class Rescuebot Autobot Heatwave and adding him to your Transformers collection? Absolutely. Heatwave is, like I said, even though he's a repaint and retool of Bulkhead, and he is a pretty fantastic looking Transformers action figure, and if you already have Medix and Chase from the Legacy line, then I definitely recommend getting Heatwave. Seeing him standing next to Medix and Chase, they are a nice trio of Rescuebots, and I really hope we get more Rescuebots characters later on. So thank you guys all so much, and until next time, this has been the TFN Geek. Please remember to stay safe, stay healthy, transform, and roll out. Goodbye, everyone.